Boom. We're live, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful Monday morning here in the jungle. Hey, Bitcoin's looking great going throughout our trading range. A lot of people over the next week or two are going to be talking about, was this a bear trap or a bull trap, short squeezes and all this fun stuff. Try to ignore most of that noise and focus on the same primitive kind of functioning basis that we've been going over for the last little while. Try looking at our horizontal Wyckoff trading ranges, so that with that, boom, there you go. You can see on the 4 hour right now, I've been watching this rather colorful chart as we've been growing through the markets the last 2 weeks here. And I'll kind of explain it quickly. We have our first supply line, second, third, fourth, and then the increasing lines of regression as they start to move upwards. So you'll have a regression line that moves up like this, and here's the bottom parallel. So as you can see, we're looking for kind of a channel movement between what will look like these regression lines. Now again, they're not drawn perfectly here, but they're fun to go over consistently. So yesterday, we broke across the top final supply line, which we could assert to the creek. We usually come back down to test this area too before moving up higher. So this will become a really important area, maybe a retest of 37,000. We've hit our first green line regression as well, which is the top of our trading range, which is extraordinarily important as well. So we're just keeping a close eye on all these things as we move forward. I think it's really important to note that when you're studying, when you're looking at markets, in general, one of the best things to do is kind of always zoom out and go back to the macro perspective. And as you can see on the daily here, my dogs are freaking out for some reason in the background. I wonder what's going on. We actually look quite nice. So a lot of people are going to be also making conjecture around hypodermic top. Like, again, this would be a reason for a bullish scenario. We really want to get it above the top of this trading range. That would be nice to see. But more importantly, when we zoom out and we remember that we've been here for quite some time, this longer term trading range and pattern is really what we've been leaning into. And really probably the most important function of this too is these longer term patterns. You know, our original accumulation pattern between July 2019 and basically September of 2020. This was a long time where we were directly in the box of anywhere accumulating here was a good idea. Technically speaking, you could now look back at the previous all-time high and say any of this was a good time to be accumulating, especially if you averaged your shot in through time and basically ignored the price. And this is kind of one of the overarching echoes that we want to remind everyone about, myself included, is that this is like going to the gym. We keep showing up frequently. We do our best to learn as much as possible. And that's why we do study these intermediary, like interstitial ranges, we'll call it for now. Where we're looking at the much shorter time frames. We're watching the horizontal trading range. Now we've gone over why we think that this is actually a reaccumulation after decline type signal. But we're about to get some really interesting data here, because again, even on the daily, we may be getting a daily candle close above the $40,000 range here in the next few hours, which would be pretty nice to see. So again, back to the 6 hour. We can see we are closing above key ranges. Likely we'll come back to test the point of control here at around 36,000. And then we could move. Now, the next parts are going to be super important. Let's say we come up to 50.49 and then come back down. That's a bad sign. We do not want to go up high and then come back down. What we would like to do is jump back around 52.48, stay above this green line for a backup phase, and then move higher. That would be great. If we start to come back below these green lines here, that is not a great signal, at least in terms of our interstitial or our intermediary time on deck right now. So I think that that's a really good place to kind of leave it for today. I don't want to take too long. Just a quick little look at the NASDAQ. We are still kind of trying to push higher on the NASDAQs. The general markets are still trying to move forward even on this Monday morning. We see a fair amount of green in the markets as well. I think everyone's starting to feel bullish again, and I agree. I believe that we are still bullish. I believe we're going to go to around $160,000 Bitcoin before this bull market is finally over. I suspect probably another month we'll get in this area to kind of really bore the average retail investor. So if we come back up to 40,000, we come back down to 36,000, we move up to 44, 43, and then move up higher. This is probably the highest likelihood event, at least in my mind at the moment. So keep your study up, keep doing your homework. Give us a thumbs up if you like this content. I really appreciate you guys jumping in and joining us today. Just a quick little Monday morning update. I'm having this really hard time deciding if I'm going to go to Bali. Like, I've got my ticket booked. I'm super amped to go. And then for some reason, I'm like, oh my God, just like, you got a waterfall and a house and the dogs and the corporations like to stay at home in Costa Rica. Like, I've never felt like such a baby having to make a decision like this. Like, normally I'm like, I'll already be gone. I'm getting older. I can't decide. It was like the other day I was trying to convince myself. I was like, well, you could just hang out. You could build a pool, put a sauna in over there, build a little guest house on the side of the property, have a new barbecue overlooking the jungle views with like the infinity pool. I was like, yeah, that'd be fun to build right now. I'm like, Tio, what are you doing? Anyways, thought I'd fill you guys in on that one. Because I've never felt so absolutely confused by my own choices before. That's a first. I've never ever had that. Anyways, we'll leave you guys with this. Give us a thumbs up if you like this content. I'm very grateful to have you all in the Bear family. We've got a few really cool podcasts coming up as we grow our Wu Wei research arm out as well. So keep that in mind. Really excited to bring more of that data. So if you go to arcanebear.com, you take a look on our website there, you should be able to find a bunch of the new kind of Wu Wei research that we've been doing, which is just our venture capital research arm of Arcane Bear. So stoked about that. And we'll see you guys again on the next episode. Yeah. I think I see you guys are saying, vote for Bali, vote for Bali. That's crazy. It's so strange. I've never had this before, where I've just wanted to like relax and chill out. It's kind of an unknown feeling for me. Like, the idea to stay is not new, or that's a new feeling for me. Normally I'm like we're going, let's out of here. Like, that's like my normal first range decision. This is something very interesting to me. So I'm trying to figure it out. Luckily, when you book badass tickets, they'll let you refund it up to the very last minute. So I've got some time to figure it out, and who knows? It's a weird one. But thank you guys all for joining us. Appreciate your support. We'll see you again on the next episode. I'm quite stoked about where we are in this Bitcoin range right now. So I'm still relatively bullish through all of this. Even though we've had it's probably going to get a little bit more boring to try to get rid of those final last weak retail hands. I do suspect that we go much higher, and not much higher. Again, remember that we started at like $3,000, right? So we're up really high already. I should be very clear about that. We're up very high already. If you're new to these markets, we're right in the middle. The best thing you can do is really sketch out a long-term investment thesis at this point. And focus on the next bull market and the next bear market more than what this market is doing, because we're right in the middle of it. Anyways, with the Arcane Bear, thank you all for joining us today. We'll see you guys again in the next episode. Bam.